Welcome to the Hawks Adventures podcast, where we talk about history, world building, and the surprisingly difficult business of making things that hold up under scrutiny. I'm your host. Today's guest works at the intersection of historical content creation and AI image generation. Someone who knows the Vault of Ages workflow from the inside and who has used it commercially. We're keeping it anonymous today for reasons that will make sense. Welcome to the show.
Thanks. Happy to be here.
Let's start with the problem, because this whole series, this whole pipeline, starts with a problem that sounds almost funny.
A Roman legionary holding a katana.
A Roman legionary, full lorica segmentata, standing in the forum, holding a katana.
11 times across 1,100 images, and every single occurrence followed the same logic.
Before we get into how that gets fixed, let's set up what we're actually talking about. L.M. Hawks, author of the Lanista Chronicles, spent 4 months building a catalog of AI-generated historical illustrations for an interactive gamebook series set in ancient Roman gladiator culture, 1,100 images through Midjourney, and the historical accuracy standard was non-negotiable. Tell us what that tension actually looked like in practice.
Midjourney is a genuinely powerful tool. It produces imagery that looks historical. The lighting is right, the palette is period appropriate, the composition is dramatic, and then you look at the sword, or the armor, or the arch over the doorway, or the wall-mounted lighting fixture that would be perfectly at home in a Victorian drawing room, and should not exist in a Roman barracks built in 50 AD.
The Victorian gas bracket lanterns.
Glass panels, visible pipe runs. In a military compound in ancient Rome, the model reached for dramatic interior, and its richest reference pool for dramatic interiors skews heavily 19th century. So that's what you get.
Now, before we get into solutions, why does this matter commercially? Because I think a lot of content creators might hear historical accuracy and think niche concern. Prove that it isn't.
In February 2026, a thread on r/AI art titled "What Makes These Images of Ancient Rome Historically Inaccurate?" got immediate, detailed community responses from non-specialists on a general art forum, cataloging specific failures: weapons, armor, architecture, equipment mixing. A University of Bordeaux art history professor formally documented anachronisms in widely shared AI Rome videos in December 2025. Communities on r/Ancient Rome and Gladiator history forums catch equipment errors within hours of posting.
So the audience for historically accurate Roman imagery is not a niche. It's active, it's vocal, and it's watching.
And it's the same audience that is the primary buyer for this kind of content. Historical content creators, tabletop designers, game publishers, authors illustrating their own work. These are not casual buyers. They are building products, they are paying for commercial licenses, they will notice a katana, and they will not come back.
Let's talk about ACV here. Average customer value. Because you mentioned commercial licenses, and the pricing structure for the Vault of Ages is worth unpacking. A personal buyer picking up 5 images pays $12. A commercial buyer picking up 30 images at $8,000, 192 resolution print quality, pays close to $800. That's a fundamentally different customer.
And the commercial buyer is the one most motivated by accuracy. A hobbyist can live with a slightly wrong pauldron. A game publisher putting images in a product that will get reviewed by the historical gaming community cannot. The stakes are asymmetric. The commercial buyer needs accuracy the way a contractor needs code compliance. It's not a preference, it's a requirement.
So the pipeline wasn't just built for Hawks' own catalog. It was built for a customer who is also building something.
Exactly, and that reframe matters. The tabletop world builder, like the game designer, the indie publisher, the historical fiction author who needs cover art and interior illustrations, they're not buying images. They're buying protection. They're buying the confidence that when someone in their audience who knows Roman history looks at this image, it will hold up.
Okay, let's get into the mechanics of why these failures happen, because I think understanding the root cause is what makes the solution make sense.
The core issue is that the model's training data contains far more post-Roman content than Roman content. Medieval Europe, Renaissance Italy, Victorian England. These periods generated enormous volumes of imagery, paintings, engravings, illustrations, photographs of museum collections. The documentary record of ancient Rome is rich, but it is statistically dwarfed by material from later centuries.
So when the model reaches for warrior,
it draws from the heaviest available pool, which skews late. The most statistically dominant sword in the training data is not the gladius. It is the katana and the longsword and the fantasy broadsword. The model does exactly what it was trained to do, produce imagery that matches the statistical weight of its training data. The problem is that statistical weight doesn't map to historical accuracy.
And this is what makes the failures patterned rather than random.
That's the key insight. These are not random errors. They are predictable, consistent, and specific, which means they are fixable. But you have to understand the pattern before you can break it. Weapons, armor, architecture, lighting sources, materials, gladiator body type, equipment mixing, civilization drift, social class collapse. 9 documented failure categories, each one with its own default, each one correctable with the right prompt architecture.
Walk us through the 3-stage correction pipeline that Hawks built around this.
Stage 1 is the initial generation prompt, the mid-journey template that carries the full Roman accuracy constraints, period-specific parameters, negative prompting for the common failure categories, explicit affirmatives for what the correct artifacts look like. It gets you close. It does not get you all the way there.
And stage 2?
The audit prompt. This is a structured evaluation system run through Claude. It examines generated images against a defined checklist. Visual anchoring, evidence confirmation, negative knowledge gate, Roman historical consistency rubric, AI artifact detection, surface authenticity check. It finds what the generation prompt missed and scores every image with a severity rating.
So you're not just prompting better, you're building a review layer.
A disciplined review layer. With documented thresholds, the audit doesn't just say this image is wrong, it says this image failed evidence confirmation on armor type and AI artifact detection on lighting source at severity 4, which exceeds the discard threshold. That output becomes the input for stage 3.
The corrective reprompting prompt,
which takes the audit's diagnosis and translates it back into mid-journey language. Exactly what was wrong, exactly what to replace it with, formatted as targeted, negative specifications. The corrective prompt regenerates the failed image. The audit runs again. The loop closes.
For someone building a commercial content catalog, a game publisher, a historical fiction author, a YouTube creator doing ancient Rome educational content, what does this pipeline actually save them?
Time first. The failure categories are predictable. Without a structured system, you are catching errors manually, one image at a time, after the fact, after the image is already in your deck. With the pipeline, you're catching them systematically before they ship. And money, because the alternative to this pipeline is hiring a historical consultant to review every image, or burning the image and paying for another generation pass, or releasing content with anachronisms in it and absorbing the reputational cost.
You mentioned YouTube creators doing ancient Rome content. That's a buyer profile that doesn't get discussed enough in this context.
It's the commercial license buyer with the highest repeat purchase potential, a YouTube channel doing serious, researched, long-form ancient Rome content needs a constant supply of period-accurate visuals. They can't use Wikipedia Commons images for every video. They can't afford custom commissions at scale. A commercially licensed catalogue of accurate cinematic illustrations at 8,192 PNG is exactly what they need, and they will be back.
Let's close with this. The Vault of Ages art pack and the 3-document prompt pipeline, the generation template, the audit prompt, the corrective reprompting template, are all available at hawksadventures.com. Who is the person who should be downloading these right now?
Anyone building historical content at scale who is using AI image generation and who cannot afford to be wrong. Game publishers, tabletop designers, historical fiction authors illustrating their own work, YouTube creators, educators building curriculum assets. The pipeline documents are free in annotated form. The Vault catalog is available under personal and commercial licenses. The commercial 30-image pack at 8,192 resolution runs just under $800. And for the use cases I've described, that's not a discretionary purchase, that's infrastructure.
And this is just the beginning of the series. Next episode, the white marble lie coquarm, the full taxonomy of everything AI gets wrong about ancient Rome, with the community evidence to back it up. 6 parts, all available at hawksadventures.com. Thank you for being here.
Thanks for having me.